Dylan Fletcher on the starboard side helm for T6 today. A busy day for the team, 2 boats in the water again for the second day consecutively. Just tell us, how different is it when you're running 2 boats, just T6 or just the AC40?
Yeah, obviously, when we do 2 boat days, it's more work for everyone. So today it was good to get out in T6 early and get sort of the test list ticked off. Then the AC40 can go out this afternoon and focus on preparing for Vilanova.
Yesterday there was some technical issues with T6, frustrating day, not much sailing. They're all resolved now?
Yeah, no, T6 was on good form today. Obviously frustrating for us yesterday at times, but unfortunately that's days that you have to experience at times, and the boat was firing today and conditions are fantastic. So just
describe those conditions for us.
Yeah, I think it's a typical thermal breeze that built from 8 knots up to about 14 knots at the end. I think it was about 0.8 of a metre of swell from the east, so kept it interesting.
It looks like the boat looked under control the whole time you were out there. There was a bit of swell though, and at times we saw some big splashdowns. What is it that causes that?
Yeah, I think it depends. You're always trying to balance between, clearing the bustle, and then you've got the foil and how much tip out. And so we're experimenting with different options, and sometimes, we get it a little bit wrong, and you either ventilate the whole foil or the bustle touches too much, and that's when you see those moments.
I guess you're still gathering, I'm sure you're still gathering data on both the foils that you've got in the boat at the moment. How different are those 2 foils to sail with?
Yeah, they're quite different. As you can see, there's big differences between how they look, and both have got their pros and cons, but ultimately they're just providing data for Brackley, and they're able to hopefully design a very fast race yacht for us.
We talk a lot about the foils. We don't talk very often about the rudders. I think T6 has had the same rudder right since its inception. Will you experiment with rudders on T6?
I don't know, it's something we might see. I think all teams, in fact, haven't really done very much in rudders, and you see a lot of the others have, even on the standard AC40 one, so maybe down the line it's something we'll see, but at the moment she's been a good performer.
We noticed a lot these days you're using the 5th man role on the boat. I think initially when we ever asked about that, it was just to give somebody a bit more experience. But we feel like there's a role now on the boat that the 5th man's performing. We noticed a display that they're using. Can you tell us anything about that?
Not really. Yeah, sometimes they are helping, but most of the time they're just sort of, their eyes, and I think it's good for them to have some experience of the race yacht, or T6, which will then be the good experience for the race yacht.
We wondered maybe whether they were having a look at the cameras and looking at sail shapes and maybe giving some feedback.
Maybe.
Today that increased during the day, followed by a notable sea state. You placed 2 marks to do some races, but we saw that you ended up focusing a lot on testing on your portfolios. Can you summarize and tell us what were exactly the objectives originally for today?
Yeah, in fact it was perfect. It was exactly what we intended to do today. We knew that we were coming out after a big light air section in the middle of the day today, and that we would have a build, and we were hoping for it to get windy at the end of the day. We needed to do some foil testing in the heavier and windier conditions, but we knew we were going out earlier than the build happened, so we planned to do a little bit of racing while we were waiting for the wind to fill in. And the wind filled in quicker than we expected, so it was perfect. We did 1 race and then straight into some testing, so it was a good afternoon.
We saw a few cavitations today. Do you think that it's hard testing the LLQ foils properly with this sea state?
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to sail in the sea state. It was pretty bumpy out there today and pretty confused sea state. And it changed a lot from when you were close to shore to when you were offshore further. So it definitely made it tricky today on especially on the test foils, but that's all part of it. It's what we're learning from.
As a coach, are you giving a lot of inputs during the training apart from the morning and evening briefings?
Yeah, as a coach, I work, while we're out sailing, I give feedback to the team about what's happening on the boat. And then we also, with the testing manager, are talking on a radio to just make sure what the next test is and what we're doing next and the plan of the day as it evolves with the wind and sea state as it's changing to make sure we get the most out of the day.
About Vilanova, how much pressure is there within the team to perform well?
Oh, there's lots of pressure, of course. Everybody wants to do well in Vilanova. It's a big, important event for the team and for all of our supporters. I hope we're thinking about it and looking forward to going down to Vilanova and go racing. So, for sure, we're thinking a lot about it. But at the same time, we know the big picture and keep working towards helping design the boat for the new AC75. So it's a bit of a balance to try and figure out how much race training we do and how much design work and testing we're doing. So it's just working back and forth depending on the sea state and the conditions that we have on a given day.
We're here with Rev Minihane, on-water operations and fleet manager at Alinghi Red Bull Racing. You've probably been on the water more than anyone on the team, maybe 125 days in the last year. Tell us about your role, how many boats are you running and what it takes to keep the show on the road.
I suppose our area has a group of 6 in our team, from a rescue diver, paramedic, and four chase boat captains. We run an 8-boat program, which one of them is yours, and the rest accommodate, depending if we do an AC42 boat day or an AC75 day, we alternate boats that accommodate that sailing program.
So the chase boats are ultimately the equivalent of, let's say, a Formula One pit wall team box, carrying the pit crew. Can you tell us about the personnel on board? Who have you got and what equipment are you carrying?
Yeah, each boat will carry different personnel, depending if it's a rescue personnel or tech team for the yacht, and different performance people as well. And generally we'll carry safety equipment for the yacht as well as salvage and all that.
How different is the intensity of the training on the water from your experience?
It's pretty similar. We kind of adapt the RNLI lifeboat procedures that I've learned in the past, and we adapt them here to our training and make sure each of the crews go through their inductions and know what they're doing in an incident on each boat.